Meet Lourdes, a 15-year-old girl from Nicaragua, with a pretty amazing story. You may have seen her around town, or in one of our many local coffee shops, or in our high school girls' soccer games, in which she's adored by all her teammates. She's someone you may have passed in the hallways without really realizing what kind of story she has. Now I want to show you her story and what kind of person I'm glad I got to know. But before we meet Lourdes and her story, let's get through some history about Nicaragua that you may not already know. Nicaragua is 4,102 miles away in Central America. This is Daniel Ortega, the president of Nicaragua, who was once lauded for ending over 4 decades of rule by the dictatorial Somoza family. In 1979, he was instrumental in the takeover of the country by the leftist Sandinista Nacional Liberation Front, then spent a decade fighting against counter-revolutionary forces funded by the Americans. Lourdes' family owned a newspaper called La Prensa, trusted by everyone. Both the newspaper and the family have become icons of Nicaraguans' history. No matter whether the victors in the current struggle are the Sandinistas or the political opposition, the Chamorros seem assured of remaining prominent and influential with their work. Until the late 1970s, La Prensa was simply a rather ordinary newspaper that supported the party out of power. But as the Somoza family dictatorship tightened its rule, the editor of La Prensa, Pedro Joaquín Chamorro Cardenal, which is Lourdes' great-uncle, he became the country's most outspoken opposition figure, and La Prensa took an increasingly anti-Sandinista stand in the years following the 1979 revolution. Pedro Joaquín Chamorro Cardenas was assassinated in January 1978. Many Nicaraguans presumed that the gunmen were Somoza agents. The assassination moved many who had been neutral to join a national rebellion that toppled the dictatorship and brought the Sandinista front to power. The Sandinistas' economic policies proved ruinous for the country, and they were voted out of office in 1990. From 1990 to 1997, Violeta Chamorro was the first and to date only woman to hold the position of president in Nicaragua. She is known for ending the Contra War, the final chapter of the Nicaraguan Revolution, and bringing peace to the country. She is related to Pedro Joaquín Chamorro Cardenal, and she's also related to Lourdes Chamorro. Mr. Ortega was re-elected as president in 2006 and has consolidated power ever since. He stuffed courts with loyalists, took control of all branches of government and most media channels, and he abolished constitutional term limits. He also made his wife, Rosario Murillo, his vice president, and put his children and confidants in charge of a network of businesses. Nicaragua's economy was growing over 4% a year, which was the fastest rate in Central America. So what's the issue? Well, on April 18th, Nicaraguan government announced that it would cut pensions and increase worker contributions in an attempt to save the country's Social Security Institute, which is projected to run out of cash by next year. Protesters who took to the streets were shot at by police, though Mr. Ortega scrapped the proposed reforms a few days later. The protests had by then morphed into an all-out attack on his government. Ms. Murillo has called protesters minuscule and toxic groups, but the movement is rather different from that. Hundreds of thousands of people have joined marches against the government, and only 6 million people in the country, backed by the Catholic Church and the alliance of businesses that formerly supported the government. The violence is not expected to end soon. Mr. Ortega declared on July 7th that he would not step down before elections in 2021. At that time, many believe he will attempt to install Ms. Murillo, his wife, as president, creating a ruling dynasty with worrying overtones of the Somozas. With violence progressing, Lourdes' home country has been so hostile that she's unable to go to school regularly and has a curfew of 6 p.m. Considering her long family history of politicians and political outspoken people, her family was essential in the history of Nicaragua. Therefore, the fear of her and her family being targeted was very high during this time. I met with Lourdes because I think she should tell her own story about what she has experienced in Nicaragua that no one here has ever experienced before. Okay. Well, hi Lourdes. Thank you for doing this interview with me. I know that you just moved here from Nicaragua. So when did you move here?
Around summer.
in the summertime. And why did you come to Hood River, for the winter thing, or
No, so the government of the Nortea has been making a dangerous environment for his people. And my parents and I thought it was best for me to leave the country, considering my family history.
And what's your family history? Tell me about it.
So, my grandpa is owner of the only reliable newspaper right now. So, yeah.
And so the newspaper, have they been printing things
Yeah,
that?
the government doesn't like.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And what I read about your family in the Chamorro newspaper, I read that your uncle actually died. How did he die?
The Sandinistas killed him.
They killed him for printing things?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And is there anyone else that's been killed by the government in your family?
No, just
him.
Uh-huh.
And have there been any threats to your grandfather that has been?
I'm not sure, but
Probably.
yeah, probably.
And he's still printing, right?
Yeah.
Okay. When you were there and considering your family history and the fact that your uncle actually did get killed, did you ever fear for your own safety?
I wasn't scared, but I knew something could happen. So, like, it was best for me to, like, stay in my house, or, like, everybody was in their house, like, at 6, and,
And I bet you weren't the only one that fled.
no. I was actually the last one of my friends to leave the country, so.
And where did your friends go?
All over the world, like, but mostly United States and Costa Rica.
And what's surprising to me is, considering your family history, you were the last one of your friends to leave. Why is that? Did you just not want to, or?
Yeah, and so a lot of people were traveling, and we had a hard time getting my visa.
Oh, getting your visa. Okay. And that process was really hard. Is that why it took so long for you
Yeah.
to come? Okay.
Well, actually, okay, it doesn't matter.
And I've noticed that you don't have your parents here. You're only living with your uncle and your aunt. Are your parents in Nicaragua?
Yeah, they're still there.
They're still there? Why?
My dad wants to stay there for now, see what happens.
And are you worried that what could happen to them?
Yeah, I'm not worried, but I get worried when when my dad goes to some of the protests and they attack them. I really want to know if he went or not.
And the government has been really against these protests, haven't they? And these protests at first were super peaceful, right? And how far have they gone? Like, what's happening?
Well, the police officers and the paramilitaries attack with guns and tear gas, and
and bombs. Do they use bombs?
Yeah.
And okay. Yeah, I saw videos. It's brutal.
Yeah.
And your dad goes to those? Have you ever gone to one of those?
I went to one at when everything started.
When it was safe.
When it was safe, but then my parents were worried, so I didn't go to any other ones.
And did your friends go, or?
Yeah, all of my close friends went, and they experience violence from the
Oh.
government, yeah.
And did they get hurt or?
No, but they had to run like for their lives in some occasions, like when they get attacked.
Seriously? And now what's happening in Nicaragua, like with the protests? Are they still protesting?
Oh yeah, they're still protesting, and there's a lot of ways they're doing it, so.
And with everything that's going on, and you're living here, and do you think you'll ever return to Nicaragua?
I'm not sure, but I want to.
You want to? Why?
It's where I was born, and I love it there. You know, well, even though my friends are not there anymore, they want to go back, so.
Do you think they'll come back, or?
I think so.
You think so? Do you think it'll just end up
Yeah.
becoming peaceful again?
Yeah, and my family's there, so.
And your family's there? Well, now that you're in the United States, and do you feel safer and happier in the United States? Or do you just need to go back?
Well, I know that like the police officers here are never gonna do that.
Hopefully, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know there's like laws that permit.
That protect our freedom.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, we have laws that protect our freedom and our freedom of speech and our freedom to practice any religion we want, etc. And the difference between that and Nicaragua, I mean, you told me today that there was a new law.
Yeah.
What was that?
So you can't protest like or plan a protest because you can get arrested. And
For how long?
for 20 years.
For 20 years.
Yeah, and death is an option too.
But he doesn't say that, does he?
Yeah, no.
And how many people have been killed in these
Since
protests?
April, like 500.
500 people have been killed in protests. And what about the people who start these protests? They're dead,
Or jail.
or they're in jail. Wow. And with doing this interview, are you concerned with your safety?
Not in the United States. Like if I was in Nicaragua and we were doing this, I think I would be scared.
You would, and what would happen if
Maybe, like I said, death or
death? Do you think you'd be killed for doing this interview?
maybe. I don't know.
And are you worried about your parents who are in Nicaragua right now?
Yeah.
If they saw this video?
Mm-hmm.
And why are you doing this video? Why is this important for you?
So I want the United States and the world to know what's happening because a lot of people don't know because the government is trying to keep it a secret or
Yeah, and I saw a lot of social media posts about people in Nicaragua who have been trying to get this out,
yeah.
and those people are probably dead or they're probably in jail for doing that. Can they?
Yeah.
If the government found out?
Yeah.
And here in the United States and with the experiences you've had so far, what is the best thing that's happened to you here in the United States?
Like in.
Your favorite thing?
Well, I'm in the soccer team.
You're on the soccer team?
I enjoy that, and it's beautiful.
It's
here.
beautiful here, yeah. Do you think you could eventually finish high school here, or
It could be an option.
it could be an option for you? And are you excited for homecoming dances and Halloween stuff? That should be fun. I really think you should go to experience the American culture and what they say. Is it, I mean, this might be a stupid question, but like on the movies, do you think do you think high
Like
school is
Mean
the
Girls?
same? Like Mean Girls, do you think it's the same, like football games? Have you gone to them yet?
Yeah.
Is it like the same? It's
Yeah.
different, but the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the tables where everybody sits.
Yeah. And what are you really excited about in your stay here?
Just like there's a lot more opportunities here, like for everything, college, jobs, whatever.
And you're excited to be doing that? Yeah, I bet. Oh, cool. Thank you for doing this interview.
Thank you.
As I spoke with Lourdes, I found myself feeling very lucky about where I live. No matter what political spectrum you are in, we always have the freedom to stand up and fight for something that we believe in, or something that we don't agree with. Lourdes has the same mindset, and she hopes that her country can go back to normal again soon. She believes that women should be more in charge, and she has told me that she's thinking of continuing her family's legacy to continue down the political path, and maybe even become president of Nicaragua. Lourdes' history makes her no different than any one of us. She's a girl with a passion and a focus to change her country for the better, and in which everyone should have the need to do. Hopefully with this documentary, you got to know one of our fellow students and realize and learn what else is going around the world.